on the Health Watch this morning. When you're trying to lose weight, a lot of focus can be on what the scale says, but maybe that's not the number that you should really be watching. The Fox Medical team's Deanna Centofanti joins us live this morning with more. It's always good to talk to you. How are you, Dina?
Good morning. Yes, Danielle, we're talking about, forget the scale, we're talking about maybe getting out this instead, the old measuring tape from that sewing box you may or may not have. So here's the deal. You know, when we look in the mirror, we see some belly fat. We don't want to see it, but in many cases it's there. Doctors are worried about some of the fat we don't see. So this is really interesting. They call it angry fat in some cases. So this fat can surround your liver, your pancreas, your intestines. It's metabolically risky. It's also correlated with type 2 diabetes and other issues. Now, people say, listen, I gain weight genetically where I'm going to gain weight, which is true. But also, the doctor tells me that there are certain things that we're eating and maybe drinking that are predisposed to go to our belly area. Here's what he has to say.
And we are starting to find that certain types of lifestyle and calories do tend to deposit in the intra-abdominal fat more. For instance, refined carbohydrates. We're not talking about fruits and vegetables and beans and lentils and whole grains, but refined starches, refined sugars. Alcohol, we used to think it was kind of a myth, the beer belly. Well, actually alcohol in excess may preferentially deposit in the abdomen as well as saturated fat.
Yeah, so that Dr. Rafai actually says that he's got to keep a really close check on his weight, because when he starts to gain weight, it goes right to his belly area. Okay, so how do you know if you're at risk? You get your tape measure, and you're going to you're finding your belly button, and that's where you're going to measure. And for men, the number is 37. So guys, you're hoping that that number is 37 or less. For women, the number is 31 and a half, which makes it kind of complicated. But so you want that number, that waist management, or abdominal circumference is another way to say it, which makes it sound a little more medical. But you want that number to be 37 or less for men, 31 and a half or less for women. And that means that you're doing okay, but they're really concerned about that inflammation, that fat that you tend to gain around those organs.
Well, one of the things that you talked about was, you know, obviously there's good fat versus bad fat, but is there good weight loss versus bad weight loss? Because sometimes when you lose weight, you're like, ooh, I'm losing weight. I've lost 8 pounds. I've lost 9 pounds. But you may not necessarily be doing it in the healthiest of ways also, right? Because you talked about how it can affect your heart and your liver. It really is kind of what you're putting in your mouth that's helping you to lose the weight.
Well, and the doctor tells me, he says, listen, some people have a lot of weight to lose, some people only have a little bit. If you can lose even just 10% of your body weight, that takes away some of your internal inflammation, some of those fat deposits that we're not even seeing, but it all helps to have tremendous benefits. So even if you're trying to lose a lot of weight and you just lose 10% or you go in that direction, that's why these numbers, there's a lot of rules, and sometimes that's overwhelming for people who say, I'm nowhere near that measurement. It's not going to happen. Doctor says, don't worry. Just try and go in that direction at least. And that can make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we always appreciate you, Dina. Great information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.